Hello, hope you're doing well and Happy New Year. So I'm going back to school soon and honestly just wanted to make a quick, easy video before I don't really have time to do anything. And so I decided to do an art review for this past year, as well as talk about some of my art goals for 2024. I've seen a few other artists do this and thought it seemed like fun, so let's get into it. So this past year, I didn't draw a ton, or I should say as much as I'd like to, or I would have liked to. The number of times I post on Instagram is generally a good rule of thumb for the amount of drawings I make in a year, and I posted 24 times in 2023, so around 24 drawings. So that's like 2 pieces a month, which honestly doesn't sound too bad, but when I started my account in 2021, I think I posted 45 times, if I counted correctly, and that was just starting in July, so that wasn't even the whole year. Granted, I was in high school, and I don't think it's really realistic to be able to expect to post that much now that I'm in college and doing other things. I had a lot of things keeping me really busy. I finished up my first year of college last year and also started my second year, which has been an experience. It's been so crazy. And I also worked full-time, so 40 hours a week during the summer, so that also took a lot of my time. But to get back on topic, I think it's really interesting how my style developed last year. 2023, I'd say, was when I entered my semi-realistic era, like full force. I did a lot of rendering and more realistic shading and proportions compared to 2022 and 2021 especially. And I like the way it looks for the most part, but I'm kind of in a place where I'm struggling a little with my style because I'm finding it harder to stylize in a way. Like, obviously it's not a photorealistic style, but I feel like if I'm drawing someone, especially from reference, it looks a little too realistic, too close to the reference, like not exaggerated enough in a way. So I do miss that more cartoony style that I used to have a little sometimes, but I don't know. I guess maybe it's good to have a mix of both. I think a lot of times people focus on having a personal style, but it's obviously something that will change and evolve, and I can already see my style changing from when I compare my art from even the beginning of 2023 to now. I also feel like I didn't create a lot of finished or polished art last year. I think with the kind of more rendered style that I took on, finishing pieces became a lot more daunting and challenging to work on, so I ended up starting a lot of pieces that I ended up abandoning or not finishing because of that. And I also made less than 5 full body pieces, which is 100% my own fault because I was just lazy. One thing that I do like that I did last year though was that I posted a lot more sketches. I know I just said that I didn't do a lot of polished work, but then again, not everything has to be finished all the time. So subject matter wise, I did a lot of studies in OC art this year. I actually think I only did fan art maybe like 5 times this year, which is so crazy considering that when I started, I was primarily a fan artist. I'm not mad at it though. Of course, there's nothing bad about fan art. I still do it from time to time, but I've lost a little passion for it. I found, I think part of it might be that A, I'm not as invested in fandoms or particular media as I was, and B, it sounds horrible, but fan art really doesn't have the reach that it used to. I was making fan art even before I started my Instagram account because I enjoyed it and I enjoyed the media. But then it also had the benefit of bringing in an audience, so there were certain hashtags that you can use that would like make a post blow up. And there you go, you get more people seeing your art, and that actually really helps my growth in the beginning. And it is not all about followers, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have people actually get to see and appreciate your art, you know. I think that's enough of a summary for 2023, so let's move on to my art goals for this year. So first I want to create a lot more storytelling type pieces. I seem to love creating OCs and then not drawing them, which is horrible. And people won't care about your characters or your stories unless you share them, believe it or not. And also, I feel like a lot of my work is really static, just boring portraits. It doesn't really give a lot of insight into who the characters that I draw are and what they're like, so I want to do more of that this year. I want to portray them in more fun, creative ways, maybe include little scenes that I make up to show more of their personalities and traits and stories. So that goal kind of goes into my next one, which is including more cinematic elements in my art. I love cinematography. I just really love looking at beautiful shots and seeing how cinematographers will frame or compose or light a shot in a certain way to portray a character in a certain way or give a certain mood or whatever. And I want to be able to illustrate scenes that look like they belong in a movie or a TV show. Of course, not all the time, because those kinds of illustrations are a lot more time consuming. I actually have a Pinterest board that I use to collect screen caps for movies I love, or just iconic movies that I think have cool character interactions, or colors, or framing, or camera angles, or whatever. So I think that would be really cool, just playing around with more dramatic lighting, or color grading, or having characters interact more, things like that. On to the next goal, more character designing. I say I love character design, but I feel like I don't really go out of my comfort zone with my designs. I actually have so many ideas for personal character design projects, but I really just want to just go for it and pick one to really flesh out and develop. I hesitate a little because I don't think my artistic skill level is there yet to execute the vision that I see in my head the way I want it to look. But I think I should at least try. I'm super self-critical, and so sometimes my fear of how bad it's gonna look stops me from even attempting to draw out my ideas, which is really bad. So along those lines, I want to fight my perfectionism this year, which is probably something you might have already picked up on. At times it impedes my ability to create, and that obviously sucks because I do enjoy drawing, but I let it get in the way even when I do have time to draw. And it's not even just an art thing for me, honestly, it's a work thing, a school thing, so that's something I definitely want to work on this year. Okay, so I think this may be a less common thing, or at least something that not a lot of people pick up on, but I noticed, and one of my mutuals actually kindly pointed out as well a while ago, that I draw a lot of the same expressions, so mostly either just smiling, or a generic, like blank or model kind of expression. Obviously, smiling or smirking or whatever is not bad. Being happy is always great, but I did maybe like 5 drawings total of expressions that were not that last year. And this technically does connect with the storytelling thing that I was talking about earlier, because let's be honest, it's a little boring and unrealistic to have a character be smiling all of the time. I think maybe even doing expression sheets could be a really good way to practice varying expressions. One of the artists in particular on this topic that I really love looking at is Jin Kim. He's done concept art and animation and character design for a lot of Disney movies that I love, like Big Hero 6, Tangled, Frozen, and Moana. And his expressions and characterization are just so incredible. He never misses. And so I definitely want to take inspiration from him and other great concept artists. This one is probably the one that I'm least excited to work on. I've been mostly drawing portraits, but I feel like you can only go so far with that. And I love to avoid it, but I really need to practice drawing bodies and varying body types and learning more about the proportions and how muscles are arranged and so on. I've done quick gesture studies using line of action before, so I might try to do it more often. It was kind of more of a one-off thing that I did once or twice last year, but I want to actually put effort into learning it because it's something that I do find really hard. And it's the basis for more dynamic poses, more active poses, and more interesting art in general. I know I've talked about how busy I am, but especially during school, I want to actually set time aside to make art. I'll admit I'm a bit of a workaholic. I tend to hyperfixate on work and only work and do nothing else, so I actually want to schedule time in my day for relaxing and doing hobbies. I've actually been setting up my calendar for this upcoming semester And so I've blocked out specific times consistently during the week that I will do art. I schedule it in just like a class, same time, same days every week. So hopefully that gives me a little more of a brain break and more time to practice art, and also build some discipline and consistency. If I could post more often during the semester, that would be great, but you know, school does its thing sometimes. So that's about all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe it gives you some ideas for goals of your own. Let me know if you have any art goals for this year, and feel free to let me know what you thought about the video, if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions for more videos. If you would like to see more of my work and follow along with my art journey this year, you can check out my Instagram account. I use the same username as I use on here. And if you want to look at my public Pinterest boards, you can also find me there with the same username as well. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.